Hello and welcome to this episode 226 of Frame and Reference. You're about to drop into a conversation between me, Kenny McMillan, and my guest Łukasz Zoll, DP of Hamnet. Enjoy. I actually did see a quote from you that kind of on that topic about like finding yourself in the stories you pick. Have you been like finding a part of yourself in the story? Have you been able to do that your whole career? Like just only kind of pick stuff that emotionally speaks to you, or have there been a lot of paycheck gigs that we haven't seen?
No, mostly, yeah. It was always mostly like that. I always picking films which I really feel connected with emotionally, and for me, every film's a bit like a journey. I discovered this at school when I was working with my friend, director, and he forced me to shoot his film. And I was not sure about the script. I didn't feel that, and then he convinced me, and I did that. And after all, he said, "Oh, Łukasz, now I understand. You need to really do only things which you understand and feel. You fuck up this so much."
Yeah.
and then I realized that I have to do that because my career was very, weird is not a good word, but it's very special. And but I also shoot commercials. So I also shoot some. So of course I shoot some commercials. So I shoot only one scene per year. That's my rule. I know that's a really kind of amount that I can do it properly, and I can find something. Hoping find something different. To really be completely engaged, completely committed. And so that's my approach. I shoot some commercials, try not to work too much, not to shoot too much, and then have some free time, have some time to, watch, read, walk, being bored, just spend time with my fun, with my, family and with myself, and sometimes, So that is why I realized that I can shoot some commercials, but not too many, just to get some, I like that, it gives money, but also I really enjoy that if it's not too much. And then I shoot film, and always, for me, a film is like a half a year, always. It's like, I consider this always like a half year, 7 months, and sometimes even more. So, and that is, and always I pick, I decide to shoot a film always when I feel that I could really find something personal, that this topic is for me important. It's really actual. It's really kind of a personal, and I can find something. I always need to be kind of, I think I always need to be excited. I need to be a bit of scared in a way. Like I like things which I don't know how to do that, I don't like to repeat myself. It's like a bit like, Jonathan Glazer. He said, I remember I had a first conversation with him, and he said to me, I'm not interested in things which were done. I'm interested in things which nobody did before. And I think I'm not like that. I'm not so, I'm not so maybe as like John, but yeah, I think it must be really always something which, because it's such so much work, it's so much heart, it's so much effort, it's so much stress, it's so much energy. You cannot spend this for something which can give you only money or just work, for me, it doesn't work like that. I cannot do that, I cannot do that. I tried a few times. I did attempt. I was in a conversation, and then I realized, no, I cannot do that. And I start to read the script and I said, fuck, no, I will not do it well because I don't understand that. I don't feel that, I don't care about that, I don't give a shit about this story because it's, I don't know, nothing new, nothing special, nothing really, no.
Well, being emotionally invested in something, or at least something that gives you some form of excitement, can help you push through, exhaustion and a long day and whatever. But if you're not emotionally invested and whatever you're looking at doesn't creatively excite you, it'll drain you so much faster. Every day waking up and going like, "Ooh, I'm interested to keep doing this," like that'll plus up your work by 10, 20%, 30, 50%. If you wake up and you go, fuck, we're doing this again, it's like, it'll tear you up in a way that I think even just long days doesn't, or it can.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think when you are, for me, time, when I'm on set, time doesn't exist. In a way, like it's like a kind of here and now. It's so much. It's like meditation. It's such a presence because you are so involved and you create something and you build this and you are discovering something and you are in process, and then something is terrible, looks like shit, then it starts to look amazing. But sometimes it looks like a catastrophe, and then you think, oh my God, we will not succeed today. Oh my God, that will be disaster. And then at a certain point, everything changes. And this is amazing. But this is also so exhausting. But I think, yeah, exactly what you said. If you are doing something and you don't like it and you don't feel it and you just do it as a job just for money, oh my God. I cannot do that. I tried out, I work, I had a period of my life where I was working in a sitcom as a camera operator. I was also doing some kind of very, very kind of like a corporate film, some cheap commercials, very stupid ones, very stupid, extremely stupid. Oh my God. And this really led me to the point where I almost decided to change a profession. I just I was at the point that I had a situation that started that is why I said it's a bit special and weird what happened to me. But, I had a period in my life and I started just to earn money. I bought a camera, from with some European Union support, I launched a company, and then I was just making money and doing a lot of really stupid and empty things. And when I was so empty, I just decided for this money I earned, I decided to buy my dream car. At that point,
Sure.
to kind of, give myself a bit of, I don't know, happiness.
Try to feel something.
Buy some happiness, which is not important and impossible. And going to buy this car, I had a terrible car accident and I broke 2 legs. And I know maybe I will try to make this story short, but just before I had this accident, my friend asked me to shoot his, like a half an hour independent movie. And I said to him, no, I cannot do that because I need to earn money. And I had this accident. And my first job after the accident and after the time, I just got well, which took me almost a year. My first job, where I was not walking properly still, I was camera operator. I was filming my friend on a festival, accepting award for a cinematography for a film I didn't want to shoot.
Yeah.
And I was like a TV camera operator, like And this, it, it, it was such a pain, you know? And then I realized, okay, maybe that's not the way. So I started to make documentaries. And I was making documentaries. I didn't have money at all because, you know, I was shooting many days, but there was no money. But I was kind of at least doing something meaningful, but I had no money. And I was really close to and I had a small kid, you know, I didn't have my father, my parents were helping me. And then in a certain point, I was so kind of, maybe not depressed, but I was just so sad that it's not, I dreamed to be. And then I said to myself, okay, I'm giving myself 2 years. It's not going to change. I'm going to do something different. And then Ida happened. And I was camera operator. I was supposed to be camera operator, and my DP was sick. And I replaced him, and I became a DP on this film. And then everything changed. So, but I realized one thing that, I mean, I think that's the most important always when you because if you do something, I don't know, meaningful, important, discover something, if you do art, I think it's just, I mean, for me, it's only way to really tell stories in which I feel I can add something with my cinematography, because it's just a pure joy, like, you know, like a Hamnet, like Zone of Interest, like films with Paweł Pawlikowski, Magnus von Horn, you know, Charlie Kaufman. Those films, it was always a journey. It's everything. It's like a different journey. It's like chapter in my life where I don't know, explore this. I explore this topic. I don't know. I explore love. I explore, you know, just different weird things which are happening with human brains, with Charlie Kaufman, you know, with Magnus Horn, like a violence, and with Paweł, like, you know, in Ida, was John, you know, Zone of Interest. That was, wow, so heady and amazing, beautiful, but also really tough journey. But every films, I think it's always beautiful, but it's always very hard as well. I think it's very, yeah, for me, going to make a film is like a bit going. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I don't want to say that because I've never been on the war and I don't want to go. But but personally, for me, you know, I really pack my stuff. I really put my things to suitcases, to my backpacks, and I can really just gather all those things in 2 suitcases and 2 backpacks, and I'm just going somewhere, and I'm living there for half a year. And it's always very special. Like, you come to different city, to apartment, to start your life there. And it's always a journey, you know, and you are lonely sometimes, you know, sometimes you are not sure, you don't know if you're doing this properly, you have doubts, you know, and then you're happy, then you succeed, and then you come back, and so, but it's always like a very not easy.
Well, it's kind of like going, like being in a rock band and going on tour, except you don't really. Well, you may go different places, but
yeah. But it is. But it is a bit like, you know, like I think. I mean, John was always saying that later, that's being a filmmaker. It's a bit like filming. It's a bit like it's a combination of circus and military. And I think it really is, you know, it's like a bit like military and circus, because there's a hierarchy. There is like a kind of, we're really like it's so fun. Like, you sometimes look at the filmmakers, like they're doing something, you know, and you're looking this from the side, and, you know, and sometimes it's so funny because they behave like they were saving, you know, a world, or at least somebody, you know, but if I'm there, I'm doing exactly the same, you know, and life is simple, you know, everything is simple. Everything becomes so simple when you're making a film. Then, you know, when then you come back to life, it becomes not so simple.
You know, you just reminded me of a couple things. When I'm a DP as well. I don't know if I ever said that. When I was finally starting to work on larger productions where I mostly do documentary now, but you still end up having like a small crew, you know, 1-on-1, gaffer, electric, whatever. And I ended up reading a lot of self-help books from guys because that were all talking about leadership, because it was the one quality I knew I didn't have. You know, another quote I remember reading was some kind of ancient writer where it was basically like, it's one thing to study war, it's another thing to live the warrior's life. And coming out of film school, I think you've studied a lot of war. Look, you know, you're just like, oh, the director does this and lighting does this. And then you get on set and you're like, none of this, I was not prepared for any of this. And so that living of the warrior's life is a thing you can't teach. You have to live it.
Yeah.
And it's such a interesting thing. And again, I was reading all these books, and that military hierarchy does exist on film sets, and learning about how to solve problems in something like that, in a situation like that, I found incredibly valuable. But like the circus part of it does take up more. The circus part is hung on the frame of the military. You know, it does take up a larger chunk.
Of course. Totally. Of course. Totally, yeah. Yeah, but that's true. You know, you need to just live it, and you need to really just learn this. But you can really learn when you just making films, on every film, and how to speak with people, how to be a leader, what works, what not. But but I think at the end, I think works only one thing. That if you are a good person and you're a good human being, and you are surrounded by good human being. Paweł Pawlikowski, he just taught me one important thing at the beginning. He just said, it's like sometimes on set, there are people who don't want things to be well. Do I pronounce it properly? They just sometimes, and it's so important. Just you don't have those kind of people surrounding you. That you have good people
looking for conflict.
Exactly. The people who are looking for solving problems, and they just want to make and complete things. And I think that's the most important, to just be surrounded by good people. And that's always the most important rule, that be with just good people. And because I think it's not only important, the talent is important. And I mean, there's a lot of things which are very important, but I think one of the most important thing is that you are with a good people, and you can be also, because you spend so much time with those people and with their energy. And if you have fun, if everything just goes smoothly, and if you understand each other, sometimes you don't have to understand, and sometimes you don't understand each other. You understand each other without words. We even sometimes create our own language. We are laughing. We are sometimes, angry, but then we are laughing. And then I think it's so important that we are like a very well working machine team, and we respect each other, and we just want to work, and we want to make a great film. And I think that's the most important thing, that you work only with this kind of people, and then it's so much easier, and then things are just happening. I mean, good things are just happening, itself.
I mean, you remind me of something you had said in a different interview about wanting to kind of blending you and David Lynch, but just to especially in pre-production, just dream and come up with not be so rigid about, like, I think this was in relation to the Charlie Kaufman film, feeling like you were just kind of getting through the ringer time wise, having to put a bunch of work into a short amount of time. And to your point about finding good people, I think it's also finding people that work the same way you do. Because I've got friends that I love to death that I would never want to work with.
Yeah.
Because I just know we don't solve problems the same way. We don't think about the project the same way. Even though I love, they're my family, but it's like, you don't always want to work with your family.
Yeah.
Find that easy? Do you find it easy to find people like that? Because like all the films you have made have been pretty stellar. So maybe it's not difficult for you to find it, but are these like unique circumstances where you find these people, or are you kind of like, you have your pick and you're like, that's what we're going to do this year?
I try to work with my team. I was lucky that the previous film, A Zone of Interest, we did with the same team almost. Sometimes some people can be, changed because somebody is busy or, it depends.
Right.
But mostly we are trying to work with the same team for a few years. We're working with the same team. We know each other. We are not perfect. We know that everybody has, advantages and disadvantages, but we know who we are. And I think it's so important. But when I work abroad, for me, it's the most important, really moment to start conversations when I'm looking for people or interviewing people or meeting people. For me, it's like, that's the most important moment. Like, that's the first thing I'm doing. Start to looking for people. Like, I was shooting film with Charlie Kaufman, like United States, or I was shooting film in Russia, or every film. If I'm gonna work with somebody who I didn't know before, I always try to have, the conversation, it's so important to me. It's like, it's a bit to be or not to be. I know that, if I make a wrong decision, there'll be disaster. And, I have to tell you that I mostly succeed, I think I
think you do?
I think I had, but succeed to really pick a great people, or work with great people. And I think I can see people. It was like exactly like, my camera operator who Stanisław Tuska. We did, Hamnet is a third film together. And, I found him, he found me because he sent me an email. But, when I'm busy, I sometimes don't respond on time. It's like, I'm not perfect. My office lies. And he just sent me this email just few weeks, maybe month, more than month before I didn't respond, And then I was looking for camera operator, but I didn't want to work with somebody who is experienced, who is kind of shaped, and who did a lot of, let's say, normal films. And then I was like, with whom should I work? What kind of person they should be? And then I realized, maybe it should be somebody who is younger and who is really open to, and very ambitious as well, but also, really open and really working with me to be not only low on set, but also work in prep, discuss after, help me with some, lists, or drawing with me some shooting plans and preparing with me this film, and really take a bit of responsibility for myself, because I knew that I'll be very shooting a film with the 10 cameras would be crazy in a way, you have the 10 images. So what kind of person should it be, And then I just remind myself, somebody sent me, and I was just texting to, and calling different people from my friends from agency, from school, film schools, would you like to recommend me somebody? And then I just remind myself about this email from Stanisław. And then I called him immediately. I said, hi, sorry, what are you doing now? I'm just, somewhere shooting something with my father. And then I said, okay, would you like to work with me on this film? Can you come to my place? And then it turned out that he's quite close to Oświęcim, to Auschwitz. And then he came next day for breakfast. And, we're just sitting, discussing. And then after half an hour, I said, okay, I want to work with you. And then, when we were talking, I had this total feeling that that's the guy, And now we did 3 films together, and he's amazing. He's so talented, but then John, I was talking with John after this conversation, and John said, Łukasz, do you have a camera operator? And yeah, I have. I found him, a great guy. I mean, what is his, is his experience? I said, no, he just finished school. Oh, wow. That's going to be a big thing for such a young guy. I said, oh, yeah. And I said, start to wondering, wow, maybe my intuition, I start to really think if my seating was right, that then I remember when I was there and I was sitting with this person and I really felt that this is the guy. And then I said, okay, I want to work with you after half an hour. And then said, okay, so now change your plans, stop shooting this film you are going to shoot with your father. And just in 5 days, you starting your new journey. And but
that had to be amazing for him.
Yeah,
what an upgrade.
Yeah. But he's so talented. He's shooting, his documentaries now. He's going to shoot his first feature. But you can feel that, you can see that if I watch his films. I've heard how he's talking about filming. I just watch his documentaries. I was observing how he sees, how he plans, how he, on what is he focused. And then, I'm just talking with him. I can feel that he's a good human being, and I can feel that he really makes film, and he's totally excited about making films. And I think we always need those kind of people that, really excited, not bored, not just coming to work and saying, oh my God, I'm tired today. No, I think if you make films, you really need to love it. That must be, you cannot be bored, of this, I think.
It really is a bummer to be around people who are jaded.
Yeah.
Like if you're working on, sometimes, I know we talked about it a little bit, sometimes you do have to take a job just to pay the bills. And then I can understand not being excited about it, but like nothing kills a vibe, a good vibe on set more than someone who's like, I've been here before, this sucks. And you're like, okay, well, EA hasn't. They were excited until they heard you fucking do that. Like, like there's other people here that might be excited just because you've been gaffing for 70 years,
No, but I think, it's so much easier. I think, I'm not saying to be kind of, aroused or crazy, euphoric, but I think it's so much easier. I think it's like with everything, I think it's so good that you like what you're doing. And I think it's so important that you are happy when you're doing that. And you can be, because I think it's so much part, our lives, half of our lives or more, it's work. And then, you need to like it. You need to like people. You need to like to be with people. You have to, you don't have to, but it's good when you can laugh together, if you respect people, if you just, it's so much better and it's so much easier. And, I once I worked with one of my gaffers. I really like him and we all go together still. But, we had a little conflict once because a few times he was just so tired, and then he was, oh my God, I'm so tired. We were shooting commercial. And I said, I just came to him and said, no, I don't like this approach because I know that it's a bank commercial. But I decided to make this bank commercial and they pay me money. They pay me good money. They pay us good money. And I feel I just want to give them the best I can because I think it's a deal, you know. And I said, if I said yes, I'm gonna do it as great as possible because I think it doesn't matter. I think it's, and I think that's the approach. I prefer not to do something. Yeah, I prefer not to do something or do one commercial per month than shoot, I don't know, 2 or 3. I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but maybe some people can do that. Some GPs I cannot do. But because I know that if you are tired, if you are, you know, exhausted, if you are not interested, because very often it comes that you are too, you know, overstimulated. Tired. And then you lose interest. And I think it's not okay. I think it's not fair. It's not fair for anybody because sometimes I was in a situation that I was working with some people who I can see that they're tired. You know, they are really tired. You know, they just try to survive. You know, they are in survival mode on set. And then you're going to another set. And honestly, I don't accept that. You know, I don't accept people. For me, like, I don't know, if somebody's coming for a commercial and he just come from, I don't know, night shoot and start work with me. For me, it's exactly the same that this person was drunk. You know, I don't accept that at all. Because I think that I don't want to lose time and energy in working in a kind of a negative environment. You know, I think that's that this kind of negative energy. It's a bit like, it's like, you know, rotting something. You know, it can destroy atmosphere. It can destroy. I mean, it's so much easier to just do it something with pleasure, with like, you know, even yesterday I was talking to my friend who is director, and he just told me, you know, because now I'm I'm looking for a different place now, and you know, probably I will have to do some redecoration. And he told me, no, I know great people who, you know, just working in a construction and just, you know, regular decorating houses. And they love what they do, and they are happy with what they have, and they are very happy. You know, they just come to work, they play techno, and they are working, and they have fun, and they are smiling, and they like it. And, you know, I want to work with this kind of people. I don't want to work with people who are just coming in the morning and say, oh, I'm tired, you know. So don't come, please. And I think that's exactly like, you know, we're working with people who are also starting, or people who are younger. And, you know, I did the last film with Paweł Pawlikowski, and it's so amazing that, you know, our crew, everybody, so full of, you know, commitment, full of energy, full of enthusiasm, smiling, anticipating, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm sometimes listening, you know, that say, oh, those young people now, they don't want to work. I mean, they're not interested. They're kind of have you know, they're basically not enthusiastic. And I don't agree. I mean, maybe some, but I was working with much younger people than me now. And, you know, and that was just great in a way that everybody was so completely in it, you know, and you can feel that. And then you know that we can achieve amazing things because people, like, sometimes, of course, we have to have procedures in the field, you know, because of safety, because of many things, because it's less stressful. It's sometimes, I don't know. Yeah, just there are some rules in the film industry, but I know that when you have a great team, sometimes you can really achieve amazing things. You can really do something in a very short period of time. You can do something where weather changes, and then you can really rely on your crew. And then, because you know that they can really push themselves, and we can really push ourselves and achieve something amazing, sometimes in a very stressful conditions, and accomplish something beautiful amazing, different, new, crazy, in a good way, and original. But I think this can only happen if you really respect people but not only respect, if you have this kind of a friendship that sometimes you can also understand the moments of, I don't know, weakness, that somebody is not in a, perfect performer sometimes. But then I know that when we need, and sometimes I can really also allow to just lower, was the, like in a car, was the, no, like, like you have an engine, and so you can
The
drive
RPMs. Yeah.
So sometimes I think, it's, that you can lower your crew and your team RPMs, but then you can really sometimes speed up and really get to this, red zone, and you can achieve something great. But then, but this can only happen if you are surrounded by, I'm not afraid to say that, friends, friends and colleagues and good people who, but then there must be respect and must be friendship there.
What was that kind of vibe like on Hamnet? Because I just saw it Wednesday, I think, Thursday. I saw it pretty recently. I didn't know I was going to interview when I saw it. I saw it, and then they emailed me, so I was like, oh, it just good for me. But the pace at which the film entered very much just has you kind of living with the characters in a sort of observational way in many ways. Was that reflected on set, or did you shoot that in 1 week and you were just hammering? Like, I can't tell. I can never tell with these types of things. Like, is the front and the camera the same as the front? Was it always that? Was everything kind of chill, or?
Yes, and no. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't chilled. It was this kind of a sinusoid. I feel like in life, like that was stressful. There was moments like things were on the border. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate, that, but there were moments that things were not working, and then we were just with Chloe coming together, with Stachu, sometimes with other people, and then with final solution. And that was the process always. So we were very well prepared. I think we were very well prepared. We had a decent time for preparation, but not too much time. It was very, I was sometimes working, I was mostly, because I couldn't stop working. So I was working Sundays and Saturdays. Basically, in a prep time. But, it was like, because we agreed with Chloe at the beginning that we are going to shoot this film in a bit a way, like prepare everything, and build this world. And of course, everything what is in the film is prepared, but try to create a world where we can move in a documentary manner, be free to react on things which are happening, sometimes change decisions, sometimes change maybe even location or place that we decided that we're going to shoot it here, but then we see, wow, that's a better light here at this moment, and the wind is there, and the light is there, and for actors, this place works better, and then we realize, okay, let's do that here. And it was a lot of this kind of situations on this film that we were sometimes putting our crew in surprising situations, because sometimes what we prepared or we thought is going to work, it didn't work, So I think this film was like this, but it was chilled. It was, we had time. We had space to improvise. We had space for rehearsals. because for me, it's always like this. I really believe that you need to really prepare yourself in a way. Like first you prepare yourself in a very abstractive way. I mean, you're watching films, reading books, listening music. You had this like a time for dreaming. And you create, I create my decalogue. I make notes. I'm gathering images, going for recce's, taking pictures, placing people who are, kind of playing the situations. We are arranging, the scenes with people from production design or production or, Chloe and somebody. And then that's the prep starts, the real preps, which is like a kind of, logistics, office, meetings, these decisions, tests, accepting things, then also working on schedule in a way of time of a day of shooting, etc., etc., etc. This is like a very logistic. That's everything about logistics mostly, And then because you need to prepare this whole gang of people for what you are going to achieve. If you don't pass this information properly to people, it will not work. Because I realize also, like, just to really give people information, give them also a trust, and also give them a freedom, and also really fill them with everything what is possible. Because then, because I just think how I would like to be treated by director, if I would like to be treated like this or like this, and then I realized, okay, I want trust. I would like to be trusted. I would like that somebody give me freedom. I would like that somebody would like to discuss with me. I would like to have a creative conversations. I would like to be inspired. I would like to feel, to have this creative fun. So I think that's so important that you just exactly do the same and you give as much, to everybody. Yeah. Because then it will help them to do their job, and then they can be as well inspired, and then we together creating this film at the end. And I'm myself, I can not, it's impossible. I cannot do anything myself, and then when the film starts, I'm not saying I forget anything, because I don't forget, but I never use my notes. Sometimes only when I feel lost, but I remember everything.
What you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, now that's the time. I decided what I decided, and then I'm going there. I need to find myself there, and then it's nothing more I can do. And then I know, okay, we have what we have, and then we need to find ourselves in this environment. And honestly, when I'm shooting, for me, priority is to sleep well, to rest, to be in a good shape, to be not tired, to not get exhausted, and recover quickly. And then you can really, it's like a marathon, yes? So you need to really prepare yourself for this time, and because you need to run for a long time. And if you in a good shape on the first day, and to be on a good shape in the 47th day. And I love this moment that, I feel, oh, now I cannot change anything, it has to be, and then you just sometimes forget. You have everything in mind, but then you are open to new things. You are open to this, what is happening. And then sometimes completely different happens, It's like, I think this is, with Paweł Pawlikowski, this is very, not extreme maybe, but it's like, he's working like that. He starts with like a script, which is like is a script, but it's not,
When it's not set in stone.
It's not. Yeah,
it's not cut in marble.
Yeah. It's not. It's not cut in marble. It's not cut in marble. It's just I don't know, 40, 50 pages of a story about the making a film. Is really discover this while making this film, and I think for me that's the best and the most beautiful way to really achieve something different, because that's a process, and we as a group, we're really discovering something. And of course, the director is a leader, and he's. But I think we are together in this process of finding something, and sometimes it could be different than this what was before. And I think that's the most exciting part of making film. That like one Polish director said, if I knew what this film is going to be about, I wouldn't do that with you.
Well, and to your point about like notes and preparing and everything, there's definitely it took me a long time to learn that like that type of stuff, while some of it does need to be like exact, sometimes lighting diagrams for like a stage or something that has to be exact.
Yeah, of course.
But it informs your instincts. Like if you sit there and you're slavishly, stuck on the notes, think this is all very David Lynch, just the idea of like the ideas come to you, those are what make the story, the inspiration. Certainly filmmakers who like are excellent at making like an exact plan and dialing, but that's because they're geniuses. I think unless you're a genius, letting the work speak to you results in a better result. If you sit there and try to mold the work into your preconceived notion of what it should be. And that preparation and instinct allows for that.
Yeah.
What was the... go ahead.
Yeah. Because I think, but on the other hand, if you are... Yeah, maybe they're geniuses, but from the other hand, how can you predict? How can you... Because I think you need to be open for... I think it's like a documentary, because this really reminds me, and this is a bit like, documentary approach. You are shooting documentary and you constantly aware, you constantly observing, you constantly looking for something, you constantly just looking 360, because you don't know. I mean, in certain point, like I had this so many times in my life when I was shooting documentary that I was shooting something just because, because I decided to shoot, let's say, people in a window sitting. We decided with the director. And then we are outside of the house, and then we just shooting. But then you're shooting, and you're just interested in what is happening there. And then out of the sudden, something unexpected happens, which completely changes the whole thing. And I think it's exactly like in a film. Like you just need to observe. Like you need to really observe the reality. I think that's the point. That being present, being here and now, that you're constantly observing this reality. If this is your set, so you are focused on a shot, that's fine. But then you just observe me, because maybe just there's a better shot. Maybe there's a better solution for this, and maybe this situation can sometimes develop in a way that you need to change staging. You need to change your camera position. You need to change your camera work. You need to basically change your approach. Mm-hmm. And how can you do that if you, let's say when you even are present on a rehearsal with actors, but really on set, in costumes. That the thing happened in the morning, when we are coming, we have our approach, we have ideas. It was like very often that, Chloe was coming in the morning with her ideas, that, we have the whole film shortlisted. We have also always I always do like a photo storyboards, like a photo shot list. So I'm just placing, I always do something like this. I mean, not always, but from few years, from zone of interest, I do shooting them. And then I place all the information there. I'm making like a shooting plans or something like this, where I put always basically from the schedule, I put, the number of the scene, what is happening. And I mean, the sun positions, all the images of the sun, all the images of all the notes which are important. And then I'm placing images, all the camera setups there, and sometimes I'm drawing the top shot or placing everything or inspirations or basically everything what is important for this. And because I'm working on that, with my iPad and drawing this and really sitting with those images, which I really love, like, doing some color correction. I'm just basically spending time with those images. So then when I'm doing that, this, somehow I spend so much time with those images that they're all sitting in me. So I don't need to even look at this. I mean, sometimes I look because it was, we had a great idea. Let's find our plans, and this was fun. Yeah, that was a good bit. But I think, so you come with these ideas, but in the morning you have the night before, you can really focus, or the evening before. And then director has evening before, then you are meeting in the morning, and then everybody has ideas, then we are exchanging ideas, then we do rehearsal, and you have all those ideas, and you exchange ideas, and then there is rehearsal. And honestly, for me, the rehearsal moment, when I, with a viewfinder or, I don't know, Artemis, that's the most important moment, when I really get into this kind of a hyper focus mode. Because that's the most important moment for me when we rehearse. Because I know that I have 20 minutes now. I have 20 minutes to have final ideas, final decisions, and those decisions will be not reversible. And then that will stay forever, because then I need to execute that. And then, of course, I can maybe tweak something, change something, adjust something. That is why, always you put camera on a dolly, so you can be very fast, and you can move camera. And I try to do everything is on dimmer, everything is on iPad. You can basically you can change a lot, and you can paint this image, because I see very often, I sit with a director in front of a monitor. I'm operating only sometimes. And then I treat this image as a canvas a bit. So I can, shape this, I can change it. I can, even while we are shooting the shot, I can do some little changes in between takes. But I know that the moment when we are rehearsing and I make decisions and take pictures always, at all the angles and all the camera movements, that's the moment where or I achieve something, or I will not achieve something. And that's the most important moment for me, when the rehearsal happens. Then, I always... And, I learned his... because, when I was younger, I thought that preparation is... I thought that the preparation transfer linearly,
linearly, yeah,
to what
into
you achieve.
the work,
and I thought that when I was younger, and then I realized, like in Ida, that I was not prepared, and then I realized, what can I do? I need to find myself there. I need to be really open. I was sleeping 8 hours, running, not drinking alcohol, keeping myself in a good shape, because I knew, I was not prepping the film. Richard was prepping. Then I became DP. And then, I was just coming to locations he decided. And I said, what can I do? I mean, I'm not able to prepare myself better because it's impossible. What can I do? I can just be open. And then, in the Zone of Interest, that was exactly like this. We prepared everything. We had like our shooting plans and all the images we put into documents. But it was, that was just a plan. And then we were coming in the morning, finding a friends. We found the friends for the whole film in a prep time. But then we were coming in the morning and we were placing cameras, real cameras with real people, with our like a team of 20 people of, camera assistants, focus pullers and our grips, 10 cameras. And we had a very advanced comms. And then I was setting 10 cameras at the same time, and my brain was crying, in terms of like, be here, C, not here. Okay, B is good. And then it was after 2 hours, it was the first image of 10 cameras. And we were sitting with John, looking at this, 10 monitors. 10 images in the big monitors. And John was asking, what do you feel? And
I don't know.
And, yeah. And then we look at each other and Johnny, oh, this is great. This is terrible. This is great. Oh my God, this is terrible. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. Oh, this could be good. And then I will say, okay, John, okay, I'll be back in 1 hour and a half. And and then, after some time, we were sitting in front of those monitors again. And it was like, oh, wow, this is great. 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 Oh, this is still shit. Okay. But 9 of them was great. And the process was always the same. Even we knew the locations, even we knew our system, even we knew our environment, even we were learning something every day. Every time the process was like this. It was basically not good at the first time. And then it was what it was at the end. So that's the approach. And I knew that, the moment we are setting up the cameras, that's exactly like this deciding moment. It's a moment where, or am I going to really find it or not? And then, it will be catastrophe.
Yeah. I'm going to have to let you go here soon, but I did want to ask another question about Hamnet, to the lighting. Cause obviously, talking about zone of interest, that was just, it was appropriate for whatever time of day it was, it was just the light. Now, but Hamnet it didn't feel lit at all, but it still didn't feel like the sun. It felt prettier than that in a way. This obviously interior is different, but even the exterior, especially a lot of stuff in the forest, just felt very, I guess pretty is the right word, but it just felt really nice. And I was wondering what the approach was to the lighting, in general. Was it all just going with, proper sun placement and hopefully it's a little diffuse up there, or like, obviously you just had a window or a candle or whatever, but what was the kind of generalized approach?
Interiors, Henley House interiors especially, but all the interiors. But the Henley House, because it was built, like the farm was not built, but the Henley House was built. So
on the stage,
the Henley Street, it was built on the parking lot because we wanted to have daylight, natural, but so Sahiti Gaffer, he had a great idea that we had four forklifts with huge cranes, I don't know, they were 8 by 8 meters or something huge, or even bigger, but I think 8 by 8, I don't want to exaggerate. So, and then, it was a lot of lighting outside. It was basically all the light we have inside was basically 18K Fresnels, which were all bounced from those frames because, we had the house and also we had a wall which was, opposite. So because we shot exteriors in a Wedley and interiors we shot, on this parking lot in a built house. Interiors, yeah. So basically it was a lot of light. It was a huge amount of light outside. But it was so diffused, it was so bounced. Sometimes it was direct, but it was always all the sun is there. There are a few nights.
Largest lighting grid. Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. It was the cherry pickers, and because if you're shooting one camera, and you start in the morning, and then you're shooting with the whole scene. I mean, as you know, of course. But you need to keep the same light condition, and you cannot rely on sun. Like on Zone of Interest, we could use natural light because we had 10 cameras, but in Hamnet, we just need to create that to keep the environment. So sometimes, the soil was blocking after the Hamnet death, he was just blocking basically the whole sunlight, the whole, the sky. And he was just bouncing 18Ks and then inside we were also augmenting this with some very soft vortex or light mats, basically. And at night the same, the trees. And inside we'd be shooting with candles. Of course, the candles were the main source light. But we were, because the candles are flickering, so we were adding. We had a trays with candles with some reflectors off screen, and also we were creating like a very soft, big, like almost sometimes like a whole wall, because the light was from. If for example, the camera was from here. So here it was very soft and very weak light mats or asteras, and it was Sol was using very nice fabrics. He was trying to use always like a natural fabric, like bleach or unbleached muslin, or sometimes green, but also like a different kind of, natural fabrics to also create like a very nice and cozy atmosphere for actors. And in a forest, of course, we were trying to embrace natural light, and it was very often natural light. But we are also using some mirrors. We had some sources like it's 18K sources, and also we had some using a lot of negative fill. And also we have a great, like a negative field balloon, which was very nice because, we can put it balloon, because black balloon, we had a black balloon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I really like it. And, we were embracing natural light, and the key was to schedule shooting time properly to have a good light and anticipate how long the rehearsal is going to happen. So then we land in a perfect light, but always we were adding a little bit, but always trying to, to keep this light natural, not to have too much. And I think for this film, the most important rule was to really keep it simple, natural, naturalistic, not flashy. Sometimes, have a bit more, less light than too much. And always with Sol, we're just looking at the monitor and what do you think? And I think, I feel this light. I think, yeah, I have the same, And then we were always like, oh my God, what's the word of subtracting and
taking away.
Opposite of taking away, yeah.
Adding,
okay, so basically,
no,
not adding, but yeah. Okay, but anyway, yeah. Together, we are just really kind of always trying to yeah, that was the most important rule, that the light is invisible, you know, and I think that's always my rule, that you cannot see the light, you know. Honestly, I don't like this kind of a Hollywood look when you really emphasize main actors with light, where honestly, I don't like
It's like a fashion portrait.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't like when film look like a film.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah, like when it looks manufactured.
It's when it looks like a film, like you can really feel like you watch the film. I mean, in a way, like my aim is to capture a piece of life, you know, capture a piece of presence, capture a piece of, in this prepared world, to capture a piece of truth. And I think that must be, you know, the light, of course, the most important thing, what happening in between cast, atmosphere, lighting, wind, and all those things. Sometimes they come together, and then something real and beautiful and some truth is captured. And I think that's my goal, you know, always to create such an environment that you'll be able to achieve that. Capture this piece of life, which doesn't look like a film, is a bit not perfect. It's not perfectly synchronized, you know. I hate when I see sometimes like extras are walking like on two, that I can feel that, you know, camera is moving and you can really see in a foreground that everything's, that it looks like a film, you know. I always watch the background. Sorry, I always watch background. And you can really feel if this is real, if this is a piece of life, if this is a bit imperfect, a bit unsynchronized. You know,
you can feel the choreography sometimes.
like live. Yeah, sometimes you can feel that. And I think that's the most important, not to feel that, you know, but to achieve that, I think sometimes you need to lose control. Sometimes you need to really desynchronize things, or sometimes allow yourself for a mistake, for imperfection, for a bit of luck, you know, and then you just need to lose control sometimes, I think. And then the most beautiful things may happen.
Well, this film, I'm not even going to lie. The first like 30 minutes, I was just like, all right, okay. This is good. I'm enjoying this, but I didn't feel fully bought in. And then I'm not joking, man. Obviously this is going to ruin a little bit for people who haven't seen it, but when she reaches out to the actor, I felt like I got kicked in the chest by a horse. It's one of the most emotive reactions I've had to a film.
Which one? Which one? Which one? The moment
in Hamnet, when at the end, when the actor's in front of the mom and she reaches out to him, bro. I felt like I got shot. It was incredibly powerful filmmaking, and I have not experienced that in a theater in a very long time. And like I said at the beginning, I was like, all right, and then to go from that to again, I felt like my chest caved in. It physically, and it was just incredibly well done. I don't think you could fake everything you guys did, put together a film that resulted in that, and I have to absolutely give you your flowers for that, because it was incredible.
Wow. But when thank you. Wow, but that's the best award, you know, to really listen this kind of feedback, and that's so fantastic. And you know, but when this happened, when we were shooting this moment, we were whispering, all of us, the crew, you know. It was such a silence because the Jesse was so oh my God, there's the word, vulnerable. It was so oh my God, I need to say it one more time.
It's a tough one. Vulnerable, yeah.
Vulnerable, yeah. So when we were shooting this scene, you know, everybody was whispering because Jessie was so vulnerable, and And then we were just like, because, we knew that, he is not dying for real, but I don't know, it was so real. Those candles, this situation, everything. Even, we were on a parking lot in this built house, but inside it was so real. It was so beautiful done. So you really felt that you are there. And I remember like after this shot, exactly after this
I'm
take.
talking about it at the end.
You're talking about the end. Fuck. Okay.
No, that kid. No. All right, that kid also deserves 100 awards.
Yeah,
for sure. He is incredible.
Yeah.
But I was specifically talking about the mom at the end when they're watching the play.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I think, that was really the same, that was the atmosphere there. It was so amazing that, it wasn't like it's a film, it's a fake, it was really, when you were there, when you were looking at this, even with your eyes, that was real, that was really this, what is in the film that was there, and the crew felt this. And we all felt that. And well, it was an amazing experience that, because we were really feeling, everybody was like, wow, we're doing something important. We're doing something. I mean, you could feel this atmosphere in the film. Like, we are just feeling that we're creating something, and that was really, it was amazing. That was beautiful. But also because, there was such an amazing group of people. And, and everybody was completely 100%. There was no rotten apple, nobody.
No.
There was nobody who was nobody who was not fully in it. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. And thank you for spending the time with me. I really would love to keep chatting with you. But last time I did a 3-hour podcast, I got yelled at. So we're going to. So we'll just have to have you back on in the future.
Thank you so much for this conversation because, I'm really happy that we are able to talk much deeper about this process, because always it's very rare to discuss it, so deeply.
Frame and Reference is an Owlbot production, produced and edited by me, Kenny McMillan. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, you can do so by going to frameandrefpod.com and clicking on the Patreon button. It's always appreciated, and as always, thanks for listening.